The home, usually a safe place, except in a horror movie. What about a home? Probably not either. Anyway, let's see. Let's see how safe or unsafe this place is. Starting with the IMDb plot. Follows Max, who realizes that the residents and caretakers in a retirement home he started working at hide sinister secrets. All right, so yeah, this home is no good. All right, so this is a new film recently released starring Pete Davidson. I guess that's the big draw here. Since this is a new movie, we will definitely try to keep this spoiler free. There are definitely some twists and turns here. There's definitely a big twist in it. And, I kind of do want to talk a little bit about the ending, but I'll make sure that I do not give anything away of importance. I will say, honestly, as I'm watching this, and, sometimes when I watch things, I'm like, thinking about, am I going to review it? Am I not? Some I just go full into it. I'm going to review this, whatever it is. But this was one of those ones I was like, I don't know, we'll see. I really wasn't planning on seeing it. But then I'm like, okay, fine, I will. So I'm watching it, and then, as this is kind of going on, I'm like, no, probably not going to review this. No, probably just no. Just not really inspired to do so. Not really inspired to do so, and just that can kind of continue through, I would say, a majority of the film. Even when there's a little bit of I should say a big twist in it, as I said. And then I was like, okay, but no, still probably not, because it's going to be spoiler free, so I'm not going to talk about that. And then, yeah, okay, then something happens, and I'm like, okay, maybe I will. So yeah, there is, something I want to at least, briefly touch on, and so forth. So that's kind of why. But yeah, I will leave it, spoiler free for you guys. Anyway, yeah. So Pete Davidson, I guess this, he did bodies, whatever, how many times, a couple of years ago. So I guess, now he was trying horror again, I don't know why, but, and, that one, also had a twist in it. And I remember that, part of the twist in that movie, I was just like, no, I'm not, I don't know if you guys seen it or not. I won't spoil that movie either, but I'm just like, no, I see this coming. This is, no, you're not fooling me. And I put it into that early on in that movie. And, I don't remember my final thought on that one, but I'm pretty sure that I wasn't a huge fan of it. Pretty much because I think I pretty much saw what was coming. So anyway, so I guess, he's into movies with twists. Like I said, this one has a twist in it. And, I don't know, he's... Anybody, I think, could have played this role. I know, the kind of character he is. He's supposed to be, troubled and down on his luck and whatever. But, I didn't really think, he did anything great in this movie. I think you could have put anybody there and whatever. Obviously, he's there, so that's going to draw some people to watch the movie. Obviously not necessarily drawing me to watch the movie, but, I guess, he does have an audience. So, I don't know. Like, I'm going to say from the start, I'm not really blown away by anything he does. And again, I'm not going to blame it entirely on him. He is just, it is kind of his character, the way he is. But just, that doesn't, kind of help as the movie goes on, per se. So anyway, about the movie, he, early on, get an introduction to kind of him and a little bit of his troubles and, where he's kind of coming from. He gets put in this home to go work there. And, it seems to be an opportunity for him to have a job and kind of get straight and focused and so forth. And, a little bit of a weird introduction. He's there with a bunch of old people, and he's, I don't even know who the hell was training him. Didn't really seem to get much training, but he's there. And, some, I guess, like one or two weird things kind of happen, but, it's mostly, an old person home kind of thing going on. So nothing too much to make of that, but then obviously things get stranger and stranger. Then he gets, I guess to be the short of it is he's going to start poking around in places he shouldn't, maybe see some things he shouldn't. And, I guess he kind of befriends one of the older ladies there. And, just as she kind of warns him, that maybe he shouldn't be there, he should get out while he can. She disappears, and, strange things keeps happening until, we have a twist that happens and stuff is revealed. And I'm not going to go into any of that to kind of ruin it for you guys. As far as, some of the horror that's happening here, one of the things they kind of do is he kind of has these, dream sequences, whether they're like daydreams or when he's actually sleeping. We do see him sleep a couple of times in the bed, and he has these weird dreams and so forth. And, that kind of leaves the liberty for them to do, some horror type things, some things to kind of scare you, or some things that look creepy and that kind of thing. And, they do that a couple of times. And after the first couple of times, I was just like, okay, you've done that. Like, can we move on from this? I understand, it's a part of him and what he's going through in his mind and part of him as a character. But, like, from a horror standpoint, like, you've done it, I've seen it, I see what you're trying to do, and so forth. That, that's the way you're kind of bringing the horror out without, necessarily making it more real life with some of the old people here in this home, and more making it make-believe. But, okay, you've done it, but, can we move past this? And, they keep doing it. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, okay, I'm not reviewing this movie because, you're just not, you're not winning me over by doing this, multiple times over. Then I think, when there's maybe one or two, I guess to even further back up my point is there are one or two scenes, probably at least two, early on, this is before the twist is revealed, where, something happens kind of in real life. And, that is just more, more appetizing, more better horror than any of that other stuff that was going on. I know, you know what they're trying to do if you're a horror fan, blah, blah, blah. But, the stuff that was more real to me was more fun to watch and so forth. So, and I'm going to leave those specifics out. I guess let's just say one involves a fall. So if you do watch the movie, you might know what I'm talking about. That was fun stuff. And then, there's another one, I'll leave that out. But yeah, so that kind of was a little iffy. So, we go along and I guess he goes to what is a fourth floor, and that's where you see, a bunch of patients that are just sitting in these wheelchairs, and they seem to be in pretty bad shape, different shape than the residents on the other floors, who are still able to talk and move around and have fun. And, they're just there, they're not necessarily, hugely sick or anything. But these patients are, and, he stumbles upon that, and he's not really supposed to be there. And, that's kind of where, he kind of, gets himself in trouble by seeing what's up there and what's going on. So yeah, as the movie goes on, obviously, he keeps getting drawn to that and those people and what is going on. He also starts to try to research, and that kind of gets him into trouble with this weird chat. And, like, it's just like he's slowly kind of getting there, and you're just slowly kind of being like, yeah, okay. I admit, when the twist came, I wasn't really expecting it. I didn't see it coming, but then once it happened, I'm like, oh, but I've seen this before, like this kind of happened, and then I was kind of thinking about it, and I was thinking about it in one of the prior movies that I'd seen them do something similar to it, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, okay, this other movie did something kind of similar, and it kind of makes sense with how they're doing things here, and I'm like, okay. So again, you're again, yeah, I didn't see it coming, but you're not blowing me away with doing anything, spectacularly new. Yeah, things were a little bit weird or whatever. But then, as opposed to just kind of leaving it there, they stretch it out, and I guess they add something to this twist. And I'm not gonna, again, say anything about that. But I was like, okay, so we're gonna do this, and that's fine. And, I'm still at the point where, okay, I'm just not, into this movie and whatever, still not going to review it. But then let's just say, and I guess this is tailored to, if you watched the movie already or you're going to watch the movie, let's say the last, 5 minutes or so, give or take, pretty much win me over. Let's just say, in a way, you guys know I'm into blood and guts, and I like that kind of thing, and that is always of interest to me in these movies or any horror movies and so forth. Let's just say, it becomes a glorious routine of blood and guts here in the last, few minutes of the film. I won't give specifics or say anything about what's happening here. But let's just say lots of, as I like to say, blood is spilled. How many pools of blood is spilled? Many pools of blood is spilled. And it, I went from, I don't really want to watch this. I don't really want to review this. Why did I watch this movie? To, oh, okay, now you would have done this before, then, or let me know somehow, some way that this is coming. I'd have been a lot more engaged and much more into this movie. But you waited to the last minute, and yeah, okay, you got me, but a little late. But I still enjoyed it. So I guess the end point of all that, and the reason why I actually did this review, is to say that if you're watching this movie and you're just not enjoying it, and you were into blood and guts, then maybe you, like me, will enjoy the last few minutes of the movie, or like you, if you want, if you're watching this at home, or you buy this on DVD or whatever, digitally rented or whatever. Maybe you just want to fast forward to the end. I don't know. I mean, I don't really truly encourage that. Watch the movie, whatever. But in case you don't, there it is. So yeah, I'm not going to give any specific details or whatever, but I'm going to say, I guess if there is one thing I really enjoyed from the movie, it is the last few minutes of the movie. I don't know that I necessarily cared with, necessarily what happened or how it played off or where they just kind of left it off. But definitely what happened was a good time, at least in my viewpoint. So I enjoyed that. So the sum of all that, that is, I really was thinking of, watching this movie and was like, okay, not reviewing it. And then I was thinking, okay, if I did review it, we're probably going in the 2 pools of blood area, maybe even less, because it was just not offering me anything that I truly wanted or cared about and whatever, and just, the twist I had seen, and then, the extended part was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, then we have a little bit of fun finally in the end. So I think I'm going to bump it up to 2.5 pools of blood. Why? Because of pools of blood. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I like it and so forth. So we'll stretch out and give them some bonus points, bonus blood for the ending part. So when you watch this movie and you kind of think about this review or whatever, just think about the end of the movie and whatever. So yeah, most of the movie, end of the movie, good stuff. And that's about it. So yeah, we're going to end up giving it 2.5 pools of blood, largely because of the last 5 minutes, not largely because of anything else that happened before that. So that's it. And probably went way too long already in saying, all of that. So with that, I'll wrap this up. HorrorSquareReviews.blogspot.com is where you can get all of my reviews, written and video, Certainly tons of video reviews, so you can like, subscribe, and do everything else that everybody wants you to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries, it's okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook information down below. Feel free to join me there. Talk about horror, this movie, other movies, something you want me to review in the comment section as well. What did you think of the movie? Did you like those last 5 minutes or so? Or did that just kind of blow it for you? It could be reversed. You could hate the movie just because of those last few minutes. Anyway, with that, I'll catch you in the next review, horror fans.